Hi, I'm Chad. In the fall of 2020, I bought this boat, a Columbia 10.7 called Semantis, for $750. We motored her south to her new home at Chipman Point Marina on Lake Champlain. She is now undergoing a complete refit in preparation to begin sailing the world. Good morning, guys. What we're looking at here is the deck on the port side of Semantis. These panels here I've already prepped, but I wanted to show you what's going on with this whole process. So we're going to start with one of these. This is the bottom of the deck coming off of the port side of Semantis, and you can see all this stuff here. This is chunks of the deck core, little squares of plywood and things like that. So I got to clean all this stuff up. There's a couple of ways I go about doing that. I go after it with this thing first, multi-tool, clean off the heavy stuff, and then I go after it with my sander. And this sander has two modes. It has a coarse grind, basically just constant rotation, and then it also has a random orbit, which is a little bit gentler on things. That's what I'm doing right now. Another thing that comes up as you're doing this is, because this is little squares of plywood, it doesn't end up being all that smooth where all these transitions are. Also, there's some damage. This side was bonded a little bit better, so it didn't really come out quite as well, and I got these low spots here. So I'm smoothing these off. Some of these places, like here and here, I'm gonna fill in with maybe even some cloth or some thickened epoxy, just so this is a nice clean bond to our plywood, which you can see behind me here. The CDX fir, one big single piece for each of these sections. Let's get to work. So I'm going to start with this piece here. You definitely want to wear a mask with this stuff. So this spot right here, you can tell this wasn't marine plywood. This is actually a cabin where there was a knot that was not in the sheet of the original core material. So I'm actually taking out a pretty deep chunk of glass here, so that this new sheet fit will set on top. Also, I'm softening these edges with this multi-tool as well, so that helps to make sure that it's as flat as possible, and then when I come back and sand, I'll soften them even more. You can see that pretty quickly knocks down all the macro stuff, and then I can get right back to it with the sander and take care of the micro stuff. So that cleaned it up pretty good, and now we're going to swap to sander and some sandpaper. I tend to start with the coarse grind, but you have to be careful because it'll rip holes in the paper when you get into these defects. So I try to come across any of those areas so the paper is turning off the edge and not onto the material, because it'll rip. That's exactly what I mean. You'll eat these pads up pretty quickly if you catch the edge.
softer mode, I have it in the random orbit, and I'm just smoothing out some transitions and working on the edge of some.
That's probably enough boring sanding, but that's what we're up to here. Sanding away. I've got 2 left, and then the whole port side ready to be put back together. Build the cores and get them glassed in place as soon as it warms up. It's probably 0 out today, Fahrenheit. Pretty cold. So we get all the stuff prepped here in the garage while we're waiting. So yeah, sanding. I don't know why they call it sailing. They should just call it sanding, because that's most of boat work. That's what it is. We love sanding, right? So let's get this done. Let me finish this. I also brought my Festool extractor back from Samantis, from the boat. So less dust today. I still have my mask over here, and I've got the multi-tool. So with these 3 tools, I should be able to clean these up and get them ready to go, and then we can move on to the next step. Alright, so there's this one. I've got one more to do. I don't remove all the tabbing. I see some channels, when they do this stuff, they'll get rid of all of it. I like the tabbing being there. One, it's perfectly well bonded, and 2, it helps me to relocate the bulkheads when I go to put them back in. This gives me a reference to be able to put them back in as close to where they were removed from to begin with. So that's just why I don't do it that way. I think most of the other channels I've watched, seems like they get rid of it entirely. Let me grab the other piece here. I think there's a little bit of tabbing to be cleaned up on this one as well. Yeah, right there. And yeah, okay. I don't know if you remember, but from my previous videos, I use those truck bed load handlers against the ceiling of the garage. Lay them out, clean them up with acetone, and attach the core, bond it right to this surface. So I reuse the glass from the bottom of the deck, fresh CDX fir plywood, bond them right here. So these go out in 5 pieces. And then the last piece is I'm going to get any penetrations, like this is the chain plate penetration here. And if you can see these holes here, you might not be able to see. This is where the jib traveler attaches, and all those areas get removed and filled with solid glass. But we'll get into that in a later video. These tabbing locations, when I do break these panels, like here for example, and here where I cut them, I made sure that I cut them directly on top of a bulkhead. It should be as strong as it can be doing it that way, because every joint is going to be supported by a bulkhead, and of course tapped in and very well attached. So there's virtually no dust in here, which is very cool too. Using that Festool extractor works really, really well. And it's important. This is not stuff you want to breathe. So the more of it you can contain and keep out of your lungs, the better. Alrighty. Let's see what we have left for pads here. Oof, not too many. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 left. Yikes. Alright, we'll see what we can do. I have some finer pads over there too, but I don't think they're right for what we're doing here. These are 80 grit pads. The last of it is done. Finally. Like I said, you know, they shouldn't call it sailing, they should call it sanding. Because that's what we do. So anyway, it's a good thing that's my favorite part. All these transitions where all these little blocks of wood went in are smoothed off as much as possible. There's a few little cavities. I did find a little bit of damage that didn't show up before. Right around this chain plate hole, I don't know if you can see it. It doesn't appear as though it got into the glass. Well, maybe it did. So I'm probably going to have to cut a little chunk out of here and patch this woven roving back in with something, because there is a crack here. This would be the bottom, so you can see, because we're looking at the bottom, the chain plate that went through here pulled this way, and there's a little depression here, and there's a little bit of a crack right here. So that's something I'll have to deal with. But other than that, everything is ready to go. So my next step is going to be cutting this core material. I've got a half a sheet of CDX fir here, and I got another partial sheet up there. I'm going to probably have to get one more sheet to have enough material to be able to build these cores. And you know, it's pretty amazing what the price of CDX fir is right now, with the whole bug going on and all that stuff. But it is what it is. So the next time we'll be cutting these cores, and then we'll be bonding them all back together. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. I want to thank those that have subscribed to my channel, or like, share, and comment on my videos. If you're new to my channel, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It helps me to gain traction here on YouTube.